Hello everyone, welcome back and thanks for checking out another video. Today's video I want to do something a little bit different than I've done in the past, where I'll be doing a react to video where I'll be reacting to some local classified ads of people selling their reptiles, some reptile accessories, and it is pretty interesting where what you can come across. Sometimes I'm sure you may have come across similar things as well, where you just kind of shake your head, wonder what's going on, or sometimes just some sad and disturbing things overall. So anyways, I've put together a few screenshots so you can come along and have a look and tell me what you think. Alright, so before I get to showing them, I just want to know that I did blank out any personal information such as their username that they use, as well as their postal code, which sometimes does show up. And I have two at the very end, which are probably the most extreme of them all. So yeah, let's get going. Okay, so the first one here we have corn snake and setup, $150, not too bad. 3-year-old corn snake, believe it is a male, good to handle, great eater, live or frozen, comes with tank and everything in picture for $150. And then we get over here to seeing what the setup looks like and the snake, and well, here we are. You can see the enclosure is extremely small, maybe 3 or 4 times smaller than it should be. This looks like maybe a 10-gallon tall. Only one hide and really nothing for temperature gradient. The snake can't go from hot to cold. Should have at least a couple of hides and some more covering to keep it feel safe. But that's a pretty sad setup. Hopefully if someone buys this, they get a new larger enclosure right away and help that poor snake out. Okay, so the next one here, staying with corn snakes. This is an adult corn snake, $100, 3-year-old male, really friendly. Comes with a 20-gallon tank, a hide and water dish. It's twice as good of a size as the first one we've seen, being a first one 10-gallon, but still 20-gallon is half the size of the enclosure size that they should have. And you can see in the picture coming up here that how tiny that enclosure is for the snake. Snakes aren't expensive to keep and maintain or feed or look after, so at least splurge a little bit. Enclosure size, give them something that they can stretch out in, go from a hot to a cold temperature gradient, and just overall feel comfortable with. Okay, so this next one here, I won't read all, but just pick at points. I have 2 gorgeous 4-year-old ball pythons. They rescued last year, looking for a forever living home. They're both about 3.5 feet long, and they're not sure of their genders. Both eating live rats. So first off, I could be incorrect with this, but I understand ball pythons, you do not cohabitate. There are certain snakes that do well with cohabitation, like garter snakes, etc. There are some rarities, I'm sure, out there that people do pull this off, but in either way, I would never cohabitate a ball python. And the problem that you do have with this here, if it does work out successfully for you, is they're always competing over the enclosure. Their hides, one can't get into the hide when the other one wants to come into the hide, probably stressing them out constantly. And again, you don't know the gender of these animals. What are you trying here? Anyways, on to the next. Alright, so this one here I was kind of doubtful even if I should have put this in, but I did. So I will first off say it's not horrible by any means. Definitely not horrible. Maybe just not ideal. Let's say that. So what we have, juvenile crested gecko with complete setup. The setup looks a little bit more kind of cross between leopard gecko and maybe crested gecko, but the substrate here doesn't look great for holding humidity. It's a eco carpet, repticarpet I should say. Not a whole lot of hiding areas for the crested gecko, but again, not horrible. Maybe could do a little better with some more hiding areas and maybe a different substrate that could help hold humidity, but again, this isn't horrible. Okay, so the next one here, again, not horrible, just like the last one, just not ideal. But what we have is a 5-year-old male Hog Island boa. Enclosure size is a 24 inches long, 24 inches wide by an 18-inch high PVC. So PVCs are nice enclosures. However, a 5-year-old Hog Island boa in that small of enclosure is far from ideal. Um, they're not the largest type of boa, like a red-tailed boa or a BCI, but they do get to be about 4 to 6 feet long, and ball pythons are smaller, and I would put a ball python in a larger enclosure than this, so this snake should definitely be in a larger enclosure, being the type of snake it is. And also they do like height. They're an arboreal boa. They benefit from height. They don't have to have massive height, but they would use it for sure. So again, like I say, snakes don't cost a lot to maintain or keep going, so splurge a little bit on their enclosure size. Why not? All right, so we're here at this point. This is just sad overall. Someone just selling their enclosure, but once you see the following photos of it, it's kind of heartbreaking to see that this sad reality is out there in the world, and this is how some people keep their animals. But what we have is someone just selling their enclosure. It reads good condition, just haven't had a chance to give it a good scrub down, but would happily do so before purchase. And comes with everything in the picture: plant, sticks, background, bowls, etc. Was used for our crested gecko, who sadly just passed. So if you just have a look over this for a moment here, I don't think it's been cleaned in probably 3 months. There's a countless amount of feces on the wall where they haven't spot cleaned at all. They just, I swear, abandoned this poor crested gecko, and it ended up dying in its feces and disgusting mess that no one could look after and care for. And yet in the description of the ad, they are completely happy to give it a good scrub down before purchase, yet they weren't caring enough to do it while the animal was alive in the enclosure. They had no time at all to clean the enclosure for the animal, but for selling it, all the time in the world. And you can just look over it. It's undescribable. It's disgusting. This animal has just been tortured sitting in this enclosure. Crested geckos, they walk all over the place. They walk on the walls. You can see how many times it's probably stepped in its own feces and licked and ingested. I'm lost for words here. It's just so disturbing, and I'm trying to be as kind worded as possible with this, but it's undescribable. Okay, so winding down, this is a pretty funny one. It's extremely friendly Tokay pair with tank. So pair means 2 Tokays, usually is what I take from that. So it reads out, a little bit confusing to take in, but do your best. He's a super red, super nice Clifford. Is the biggest cuddle bug. He's female, not so much. She's his +1. Okay, anyways, from this, we have this. Yep, that is a Tokay gecko. I don't think it's a pair of Tokay geckos. Kind of looks like a white tree frog on the back of a Tokay gecko, but possibly he was sold them as a pair of Tokay geckos, and that's what this person believes he has. Yeah. So yeah, I think I won't try to make sense of this here. All I will say is I would never recommend putting a frog in the back of a Tokay gecko. Usually wouldn't end well from anything that I would say. Tokay geckos can be quite defensive and aggressive when put in bad situations, and I don't think this is a favorable thing to do. So not recommended whether this was just a joke ad or not, I don't know. But again, stressing out animals for no reason, and there's a high risk of something bad happening here. But anyways, since we're reaching the end of the video, overall I think I've been pretty good and haven't insulted anyone directly or made fun of anybody. Really, not my style to do so, but sometimes I mean, I definitely enjoy a little bit of humor. So since I've been pretty good, why don't I throw something in like this? So what we have here is some really thick-looking insulated red gloves, and attached to those gloves is a usually a non-aggressive species of a corn snake. They can sometimes almost pierce your skin if they were to startle and get to a point where they bite you. Or you know what, maybe it's just cold outside. Gloves are good for keeping your hands warm. Probably not at all because the person's scared of the corn snake. Anyways, I'm joking. Do what you need to do. Nothing wrong with wearing gloves if you want to handle your corn snake and just feel uncomfortable with it at first, but it looks like this didn't work out well for the person and they want to sell their snake now. Anyways, I do appreciate you coming along and checking out another video, and we will catch you in the next one.